Leaders and healers, gamers and claimers, ladies and gentlemen from around the universe, from around the globe, from around the community, welcome to the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast. I am your host, Anthony Cheam, speaker, life coach, trainer, musician, singer, songwriter, author, friend to you podcast host with my friend and compadre and power partner from Chatham, Cameron. What's up? Started there a bit. This is a show where we help you claim your power, clarify your purpose, and cultivate your deepest, widest, and highest passions possible so you can ultimately show up as the better, more sharpened version of yourself. So you can ultimately live the best life, give the best life, share your gifts, and then inspire others to do the exact same. This is what it's all about. So thank you for joining us on this podcast. It's an absolute honor and privilege to be on a podcast like this and to be able to share my gifts and my wisdom and my passion for growth and psychology and spirituality and everyday wisdom, perennial wisdom. It's such an honor each and every single day. And to my power partner, Cameron, for allowing his sharing his gifts with me and to the world through his technological savvy. And so we're both, when 1 + 1 = 3, and we're able to combine our gifts and share to you what we know and what we love about life. And hopefully each episode allows you to install and insert a new upgrade, a new tool, a new skill, so you can live life better and happy and joyful and give of yourself. So thank you. And today's episode, before I do that, I want to introduce Cameron. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Not too much. I'm doing good. I'm doing very good.
Nice.
Obviously I have like a change of scenery every episode, which is funny.
Dude, man, you're like, where's Walter? Like what?
I love it. Yeah, no, I'm doing very well. I'm really looking forward to that event that we're planning. I think we should at least mention it once an episode just to get people excited. Yeah, looking forward to it. You just mentioned that you've got 2 speakers who are interested in coming.
Not
out,
interested.
So
they're in.
They're in.
No,
okay, so they're in.
My 2 speakers, Miranda, she's a registered psychotherapist, Gestalt therapist, and a spiritual wise human being. She studied a lot of different philosophies, and she's been engaged in this journey, not just as a psychotherapist and a therapist, but she also studies like crazy. She's like me, who continues to read and grow and attend seminars and go to these crazy workshops, and she's vigilant and just diligent in her quest to become a better version of herself, and then share it to her clients,
Humble.
and people that and she's humble too.
Yeah.
And the other person, and she's what I like to call a feminine lightning bolt. She really is. She's a feminine charge, man. Like I
love that.
I had a challenge a couple of weeks ago, and I called her up because I was emotionally distressed, and she's one of the people I go to for guidance, for some mentorship, and she's what I like to call an elder of my life, and she gave me the best advice, and she just turned on her feminine energy and bam, was able to kind of support me and sort of help me up a bit and guide me to sort of into my shadow, both the golden and the dark parts of my shadow, and bring out the best parts of me as well. And so so she's an amazing tool. So she's going to get into the deeper stuff. The other person is this guy named Dr. Lalit Chawla. He's a doctor, adjunct professor at Western Ontario. I met him on the journey of one of my coaching certifications through Robbins Madonna's training. And the guy is a very integrative doctor, a practitioner of medicine. He preaches about proactive healthcare, but he also is about treating the sick. But he tells a lot of his clients and about health, about physical health, mental and emotional health and well-being. And he uses a lot of psychological techniques that I use in my coaching clinics, in my coaching clients and practices, and in his medical practice. So he's an awesome researcher. And by the way, too, he's also a magician. So he's an illusionist and a doctor. So in fact, he was quite renowned magician when he was actually practicing and doing this on stages around the country and around internationally too, I think too as well. And then he decided to go into medicine. Now he uses both illusion and medicine to kind of explain a lot of his talks. He has his TED Talk as well, and he speaks around the country in many different various places. And so anyway, thank you. And I'm looking forward to this event. We're planning it. We're in the early stages, but we're building the foundation, and we want to put a multi-day event together where you have the best of the best from various disciplines in integrative approaches to upgrading who you are. And it's going to be a wild time. I can tell you right now, if you're looking for a transformation, I can tell you right now, it's a place to be, and you're gonna have many different breakthroughs. You might break down, but oftentimes we got to break down the emotional and the psychological aspects of you in order to grow. You must break down your muscles first to allow them to grow. You must put them through the pain and it allowed them to grow. So the muscle fibers must tear and then repair it for them to grow. Same thing with the emotional muscle, mental muscle. We got to break those things down a bit so they can actually open up. And as Rumi says, the wound is where the light enters. So that's what we got to do. We got to look at your wounds. We got to look at the whole integrative, the whole human 101 of who you are, and upgrade those areas. So on to the episode. I want to say that I'm speaking on behalf of one of my heroes, and this is actually in honor of a hero of mine, and I know it's a hero of Cam's, and he was the original mentor of Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn. And I was listening to an audio recently, and I was taking some notes, and I consider myself an eternal student, eternal beginner, and I'm always listening to audios and taking notes. Sometimes I'll pull over to the side of the road and go, oh, that really resonated with me, and then I'll rewind it and I'll take a note, and then I'll just kind of reflect on it for a moment. And this particular series that he was talking about, he had something called the 4 ifs that make life worth living. The 4 ifs, the 4 ifs that make life worth living. And they are as follows. And I'll start with the first one. Life is worth living if you learn. Learn as much as you can while you're here. Read as many books as you can while you're here. Go to as many places as possible. Meet as many different, attain and gain as many skills as humanly possible. Like become like Leonardo da Vinci, who was he's known as one of the greatest men or human beings in the history of mankind. The guy was like an artist, a sculptor, a scientist, an engineer, all these things. He had multitude of things that he was. In fact, he was 500 years beyond his time. He was in his time. He was predicting flying airplanes, air conditioning, cars, all these things back 5 centuries ago. The guy was just a futurist. He was an amazing human being. He was a master of so many different disciplines. And it's like that one idea that says you can either be a master of one or a jack of all trades, but master of none, or you can be a master of one. I say, who says that you just got to be a master of one? Why not be master of multiple disciplines, multiple skills? Spend your time in learning, reading as many books. And I'm reading all the time. I got right now Love, Medicine, and Miracles by the great Bernie Siegel. And I reread books all the time. I'm listening to audios all the time, feeding my mind, learning different things, learning different languages, instruments. I'm sort of learning the guitar, and I play my guitar.
Does it ever get too much?
What's that? Learning? No.
Yeah, because my brother was mentioning that. He was mentioning how he just filled his brain so much that he just couldn't anymore.
Yes. I can tell you right now that there's a point when you reach where you need to process it. So you learn, and eventually your brain just gets overloaded, and you need to actually back away from it. So it's just like working out. You work out, you push the weights. You can't push the weight for 8 hours straight. You're going to die. You need a period of rest. Again, there's 3 stages to muscle growth. And this is not just physical muscle growth, but emotional, mental, and spiritual muscle growth. So you push, and then you rest. So you stimulate, where you work out the muscles, the physical body, mental body, the emotional body, spiritual body. And then the second stage is the growth stage, or the repair stage, where you return the muscle. And then you got to allow for the repair and restoration stage, where the muscles repair itself stronger. But you can't just keep working all the time and trying to learn as much as you can. We need to sleep. We need to rest. We need time for our brains to definitely, and I appreciate that question you ask, when's enough is enough? You're right. There's got to be a period of reflection. That's why when I read books, I don't read a ton at one time. What I'll do is I'll highlight a few points and I'll reflect on it. And I might go back the next day and reflect on it. I can read probably 4 books a month, but I'd rather read 1 book a month and then really get down and dirty with that 1 book. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not quantity, it's quality of the content that you then resonate with. You take notes, dog ear it, highlight it, whatever it might be. And I can tell you right now that has served me so well. And Bruno is saying something too as well. Loving the podcast and topic of today's talk, man. Thank you. Is that Bruno there?
Yeah. He said, thanks, I Bruno. Can relate. I came to that same phase in my journey last year where I had to take time apart from learning to allow all the knowledge to integrate into my mind. Yes. I came to mental exhaustion. So similar to my brother, you gotta let it sink in. You can't just learn all day long.
Well, a great illustration of that is in breathing, right? Yeah. You can't just breathe in and hold it. There's got to be a moment of exhale.
Yeah. I
And
do like immersion though. Like
yeah,
you practice immersion all the time, obviously,
yeah,
because all the events you went to.
yeah.
I noticed that sometimes it is good to just listen to it in the background as if it's noise, because it kind of
Mhm.
conditions your subconscious, if that makes sense. Just
Yeah.
don't, the exhaustion comes from you placing so much pressure on the idea of having to learn and stick it and all this stuff. Is just like,
Yes.
slow
Yes.
down, go with your own flow, your own speed to it or whatever. But
Yeah.
is this off topic to what we were
No,
supposed to
no,
talk
no,
about
no,
today?
no. So the first if is life is worth living if you learn. Just
That's
learn
right.
as much as you just learn, and make it fun. Maybe and sometimes learn something that's outside of your career, outside of your comfort zone, something you've never tried before, something you may not like. Take a baking class if just and you'll be surprised. You'll pick up different principles when you step outside of your career or you step outside of your particular job or business or whatever you're in, because I'm in the health and wellness and peak performance like realm. Sometimes it's good to step out into the world of dance and just see how teachers are teaching their students how to dance. And I'm like, wow, that's a cool way they instructed that person how to correct that posture, whatever it might be. And so it's good to, a lot of these businesses will send their top employees and managers to another country in the same discipline. So if you're in packaging goods, they'll send it to a packaging and goods company in China. And as much as I agree with that, I say send them to a completely different business so they can pick up different ideas in a completely different environment. But yeah, immersion, I can tell you, there's nothing like it. 4 days of pure just intensity, and then you come home and you kind of just reflect on it for the next week. You come down from it, and then you go to work on applying it. So I've been through there. I've been burnout, nervous breakdown before. I've had
Yeah.
multiples. So yeah, I get learning can become too much. So if that's just your body and your brain saying, slow down, let me process this first, and you'll get it.
One of the
And
best
that,
ways as well is like talking, right? Like what you're
yeah.
doing. Like you always say, I'm the one who's learning the most. Similar to that, like I've noticed that just when you have a conversation about something you just learned, that's like what sticks it like perfectly, you know?
You learn, practice, teach, learn,
Hmm.
earn, return, and you teach it. So that's one of my mentors said to me, one of the greatest things you can do, the best way to learn something is to teach it immediately upon learning it. That stuck with me for so long. And so that's why I was listening to this audio and it really resonated with me. I've listened to that audio before, but I was like, oh, wow, I'm now listening at a deeper level because I'm wiser. I'm more open to it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to be a receptor of that. And so the second if that makes life worth living is if you act. Life is worth living if you act. It's one thing to learn, but if you don't take action in applying what you learn, then it kind of just becomes knowledge and is passive knowledge. You got to apply what you learn to your relationship, to your job, to your career, to your spiritual journey, to your health plan, whatever it might be. If I said to every person listening to this podcast, all right, I'm going to put a 6-foot pole up and then let's see if we can jump over it. Some people might go, that's impossible. Some people say, I'm going to try. Some people say, I'm not sure. I can't really jump that high. Some people will just go and do it. Now, how will we know if some people can or can't do it? You actually do it. You actually just do it. Right. And then you might not be able to do it. Then you come back and someone will teach you a technique and you might be able to jump a little higher. So you learn, feedback, action, learn, feedback, action. It's constant deliberate practice and deliberate coaching. But you learn, life is worth living if you act. If you, as Jim Rohn says, if you at least make an attempt at something. So learning, life is worth living if you're learning, if you're acting. And the third one, life is worth living if you stay, even when it gets tough. Even if it gets tough, even when it gets tough. That's when we need podcasts and mentors to give us many more reasons to stay than to quit. That's what mentors do for me. I've had many times on my journey where I felt like quitting. I literally, and we're like, I'm not sure, man. And I was known as a quitter for so long. I'm like, I'm sick and tired of quitting. I know I'm not going to quit. I'm frustrated. And then I say, why are you on this journey? And they was almost like have this mental adjustment. They'd be this sort of like this surgeon of my mind, and they could readjust my mind to see it from a different place. And they were able to say, why are you really in this for? Are you in this to give into your fears? Or are you in this because you want to live a success-filled, prosperous life where you're giving to many different people? I said, that's the reason why. And then step into your fears. step into your fears. Sometimes they would give me a suggestion, maybe take the weekend off. And I know I've suggested that to you too, there, Cameron. Sometimes you just need to walk away. I mean, one of Winston Churchill's, I think it was Winston Churchill's favorite things to do when things got stressed, even in the midst of war, he would actually, get up and go to the library and read a book just to kind of change his mindset and change what he was actually thinking about. And that way, when he returned to his studies or returned to designing a plan against the people trying to invade his country, he would do it with much more clarity and peace and equanimity. And the fourth one is life is worth living if you care.
Sorry, what was the third one again?
Life is worth living if you stay, if you stick
That's
around.
Right. Okay.
Stickability. So, and I can tell you that for me, the ultimate sort of testimony, as an example, I care a lot about people, and I know people that are listening to a show like this care a lot about themselves and about the people around them. That's what they want to learn. They want to act on what they're learning in the podcast, and then they want to share it with other people. And it gives them recalibrates their own life and their own mind to suggest that maybe I'm quitting too prematurely. And the idea of caring, I care for people so much. I'm willing to I go hard Monday to Friday. People know this about me. I'm going from 3:30 till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, Monday to Friday. It is not, I'm not kidding. No joke. It is full fire as much as I can. And I'm exhausted by the end of the day, but I'm both exhausted and exhilarated at the same time. And there's this belief in me that with God, all things are possible and that I can do it. Now there's a limit of course, I know there's a limit, but I'm continually pushing myself to learn more, to act more, to get better in every facet of my life. And it's because I care so much. And when you care a little, it's good. When you care a lot, man, your life is going to be transformed. You're not just going to be rich financially in opportunity, but you're going to be rich in love and abundance and emotional well-being. And if you care and you really deeply care and authentically and genuinely care for people and what hurts them, what they love, and you have that real deep sincerity for wanting to care for people in whatever delivery system you're using, that's a huge part of what makes life worth living. So learning, acting, staying even when it gets tough, and if you care enough, those are the four big keys. And I just listened to that maybe about an hour ago, and I thought, you know what, why don't we make it, I'll talk about it too. So yeah, learn as much as you can, take as much action as you can despite your fears, stay despite maybe not getting the results as quickly as possible. Whether you're on a weight loss program and you haven't lost weight for 3 weeks, that's okay. Stay the course, get a coach, get a mentor, and change your strategy a bit. That's it. And then eventually, if you care about, if you find a purpose that's aligned with weight loss or whatever goal, I can promise you, one of the lines Tony Robbins says, and that really stuck with me in one of the courses I took was, in order to create transformation, you have to find something greater than your pain. Find something greater than your pain. And what's greater than my suffering, greater than my pain, is my love for helping people. I had a testimonial just recently about someone, made a major transformation in their life, and they threw my name in the hat in the conversation, like, who's this guy? And they said, hey, look him up on. And that person ended up contacting me and saying, hey, you helped a friend of mine out. Hey, can you help me too? I'm struggling too. And those things, money can't buy those things. Like just being in the conversation of saying, this person really helped me through my toughest times and really loved and cared for me. And that's all I wish to do. That is my purpose, to continue doing that in every area of my life. So life is worth living if you learn, if you act. If you then stay. Even when it gets tough, and if you care enough, you love enough, and your life it'll be worth living 100%. Any thoughts there, Cam?
I think this was a wonderful episode, and I'm actually curious is if maybe even tomorrow we could talk about the opposite. What makes life seem like it isn't worth living? What gets people to that point? Because I think it's really powerful when you learn, because there's always something out there that you are pumped about learning. Maybe you hated geography class, but maybe you love art class. There's something that we all are pumped about, and usually if you find yourself researching this stuff all night long, then that's probably the thing for you. I know people who just get into guitar. And then next thing you know, they know everything about a guitar and how to build it. And I'm just like, wow, man, it's just passion. And when you learn about something that you're very passionate about, life seems so rich. It seems like life is brand new again. Like there's this whole other world that you have to discover, which is amazing.
And to add to that, Cam,
yeah.
I'm sure you've had the experience where you were so scared to learn something or leave one career because you were just so habituated and familiar with that. When you left, you're like scared. But then when you got on track on doing and following your dream, your passion, you step back and go, why didn't I do this long time ago? Right. And the fear, it has no place there because you're in alignment with what the universe, what God was meant for you to do. And when you are brave and bold and you're daring and you put forth that effort, the universe opens up its doors to you, almost saying, come home. This is where you were meant to be. This is what you were meant to do. I gave you a purpose. As Tony Robbins says, God's delays are not God's denials. And just because they're delayed a bit, that doesn't mean it's denying you these things. It's really a testimony to how badly do you want it, right? Because let me tell you, as soon as you have a dream, as soon as you have a goal, and I'll end here, what's the first thing that happens to you? Opponents show up. Rejection shows up. Oh, that'll never work. I've heard about that before. So you have the internal opponent, the one side of your mind that says you can't do it, you've never done it, you're too short, you're too small. And then there's the external opponents, people at work, random people online, and the internet is worse now. And then your intimate relationships, even your brother, your sister, your mother, even your spouse might say, no, I don't think you should do that. And then maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but how are you going to know unless you put yourself out there? Now, at least give yourself a fighting chance. Again, life is worth living if you learn, act, stay, and of course, care enough. And it'll be just amazing. So, and Bruno, we can chat about the suggestion about the mentor, and we've talked about that before, but we can talk on another time, man. Just set up a schedule, set up a time with me, and we'll talk. Okay, bro? Anyways, to continue upgrading evolution, live it up with power, purpose, and passion. God bless, guys. See you next time.